Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Israel expands ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Egypt puts forward framework proposal to end the conflict. West condemns Iran over IAEA claims that it increased enriched uranium production. And in sports, South Africa beat India by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match at Centurion, lead the series 1-0. We begin by getting you updates from Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel's military has expanded its ground offensive in central and south Gaza, targeting terror group Hamas. The Israeli army released video footage and still photographs on Thursday. It says show ground operations and strikes on Hamas infrastructure in Gaza. Israel says it will not halt its ground campaign in Gaza until it annihilates the Hamas movement, which controls the enclave. Egypt confirmed on Thursday that it had put forward a framework proposal to end the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Chairman of Egypt's State Information Service, in a statement, said the framework, which includes 3 successive and linked stages ending with a ceasefire, was drafted after Egypt listened to the views of all parties concerned with it. The statement further reads, Egypt would give further details of the plan once those responses are received. A new UN report expressed concerns over the human rights situation in Gaza. DD India correspondent William Denslow reports from UN headquarters in New York.
The United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, warned Thursday that people in Gaza are grappling with catastrophic hunger. The UN agency's reiterated calls for a humanitarian ceasefire so more aid can enter the Palestinian enclave. Meanwhile, the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, says Israel's use of military tactics in the West Bank is extremely troubling. Hamas killed around 1,200 people in a surprise attack that day, and Israel says it won't end its subsequent military assault until the group is defeated. Turk also raised concerns about settler violence against Palestinian communities. He says such incidents are being recorded on average 6 times a day. An Israeli official has described the UN report as quite ridiculous and belittles the major security threats Israelis are facing. Also on Thursday, the UN Secretary-General provided his end-of-year address, and it was a bleak summary of the past 12 months. Antonio Guterres said 2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. He says 2024 must be a year for restoring hope and rebuilding trust around the globe. William Denslow in New York, reporting for DD India.
In Israel, thousands of teenagers took part in a march in an effort to press the Israeli government and the international community to demand the release of the hostages. The young Israelis have marched from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem for the past 5 days for the release of hostages still being held by Hamas. Many of the demonstrators were from the communities worst affected by October 7th attacks. The Western power on Thursday condemned Iran accelerating its production of highly enriched uranium following the IAEA report earlier this week. In a joint statement, Britain, France, Germany and the United States said that it condemned this measure that further aggravates the continued escalation of the Iranian nuclear program, adding that they urge Iran to immediately reverse these steps and de-escalate the nuclear program. The spokespersons for the countries also said that Iran had increased its output of 60% enriched uranium to a rate of about 9 kilograms a month since the end of November. The statement came 2 days after the International Atomic Energy Agency released a report saying Iran increased its production of highly enriched uranium, reversing a previous output reduction from mid-2023. After high-level meetings earlier this week between U.S. and Mexican officials regarding the issue of migrants crossing over into the U.S., both U.S. and Mexico have agreed to enact plans that will help curb the unprecedented migrant inflow. The meeting followed the visit of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, where both the countries discussed extensively on border security challenges, including actions to reopening of key ports of entry across the shared borders. Both the nations also agreed upon seeking cooperation from neighbors including Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua and Haiti in an effort to tackle the root causes of migration.
Hay más movimiento en la frontera.
The relationship with US President Joe Biden is really good. He is very respectful of Mexico. There are no threats of sanctions towards Mexico. He understands migration is a phenomena related to poverty, that this is a social problem.
In another jolt to former US President Donald Trump, Maine's top election official barred Donald Trump from the state's primary election ballot, the second state to block the former president's bid for re-election based on claims that his efforts to remain in power after the 2020 election rendered him ineligible. The Maine decision builds on the momentum that Trump's critics have claimed after the Colorado ruling. Before Colorado, several other states rejected similar efforts. Argentina's most influential worker unions on Thursday called for a national strike next month over President Javier Milei's reforms aimed at liberalizing the country's economy. The General Confederation of Labor, that is CGT, said that the strike on January 24th in protest against a decree and package of bills announced by Milei goes against all of society and give the president all power. In a statement, the CGT, which brings together several powerful unions in the South American country, presented its fighting plan. Members, the statement said, will request meetings with lawmakers who are due to discuss the bill in extraordinary sessions scheduled through January 31st to propose the amendments. Earlier, thousands of people had poured onto the streets of Buenos Aires and other cities across Argentina, and at least 6 people were detained during the protest. Demonstrators said that these measures attempted against their basic social rights and wages. At the same time, Milei presented more measures to Congress that included reforms in tax, labor, criminal, energy, and electoral matters. Venezuelan president expressed unhappiness over the deployment of British warship Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Trent in waters near Guyana coast. President Maduro said that this was a breach of the spirit of agreement reached between the officials of the two nations. Recently, both Guyana and Venezuela made agreement regarding the border dispute over the oil-rich Essequibo territory. Earlier this month, Maduro had said that he would authorize oil exploration in the Essequibo region. This is a 62,000 square mile border territory around the Essequibo River, mostly jungle, with massive oil and gas reserves and generally recognized as part of Guyana. Though Venezuela has the world's largest crude reserves and also has massive deposits of natural gas, its production has fallen significantly, prompting it to revive claim over the said territory. Let's get you updates on Russia-Ukraine crisis now. A Panama-flagged bulk carrier has been hit by the Russian mine in the Black Sea, injuring 2 crew members, the Ukrainian officials said on Thursday. The vessel, the Vizos, was heading to the river Danube port to load grain. According to Ukraine's Southern Military Command, the vessel lost course and control, and a fire broke out on the upper deck. The incident that took place on Wednesday was the latest instance of a civilian vessel hitting an explosive in the Black Sea. Ukraine says Moscow has increased attacks on Ukraine's port infrastructure since mid-July, when it quit a UN-brokered deal that allowed safe passage of Ukrainian grain shipments via the Black Sea. Now an update on Congo elections. The main observer mission there reported numerous irregularities related to last week's presidential and legislative elections. It could undermine some election results. There were several reports of incidents at polling stations, over 60% of which interrupted voting. Provisional results issued so far from December 20th general election show President Felix Tshisekedi with commanding lead, but his opponents have demanded that they may be annulled, citing widespread issues with the rollout and tabulation of the vote. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres delivered his New Year address in a pre-recorded speech. In his speech, the UN chief talked about the outgoing year and its shortcomings while evoking hope for the new upcoming year.
2023 has been a year of enormous suffering, violence and climate chaos. Humanity is in pain. Our planet is in peril. 2023 is the hottest year on record. People are getting crushed by growing poverty and hunger. Wars are growing in number and ferocity, and trust is in short supply. But pointing fingers and pointing guns lead nowhere. Humanity is strongest when we stand together. 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and restoring hope. We must come together across divides for shared solutions, for climate action, for economic opportunity and a fairer global financial system that delivers for all. Together we must stand up against the discrimination and hatred that are poisoning relations between countries and communities. And we must make sure new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, are a force for good. The United Nations will keep rallying the world for peace, sustainable development and human rights. Let us resolve to make 2024 a year of building trust and hope in all that we can accomplish together. I wish you a happy and peaceful new year.
And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Massive waves battered the coast of California on Thursday. Storms in the Pacific Ocean whipped up coast wells that led to flooding, and evacuation orders were in place in several areas in Northern California. The National Weather Service warned these conditions are deadly and worse is yet to come. A group of southern sea lions and seagulls were seen roaming around the town during a fishermen protest in the southern Chilean town of Valparaiso on Thursday. 3 southern sea lions were calmly walking in front of the police vehicles, while seagulls were seen eating fish on an armored vehicle during a blockade. Hundreds of homeless people in La Paz received free showers, food, clothes, haircuts and toys at an evangelical church on Thursday through a project called Good Samaritan. The church volunteers helped prepare food, sort through clothes and toy donations. The project seeks to bring hope to people who have lost it all. The Thinker, a renowned sculpture by French artist Auguste Rodin, has been reborn in Chile to address future AI questions. Locals approached the statue to ask questions such as climate change effect on the weather. The creators of the statue aim to bring AI closer to people by destigmatizing its use. The metal statue is 3.2 meters tall and weighs 250 kilograms. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Amid full swing preparations, India's Prime Minister to visit Ayodhya on 30th December to inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects. We will bring you a recap of the year gone by in cricket in 2023. Stay with us for details.
In 2023, the world faced unprecedented climate challenges, yet positive strides were made. Join us as we unravel the significant environmental milestones globally and in India. From climate action to conservation efforts, what happened in 2023? Let's find out. At these times, only on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live and I'm Preeti. We'll get you updates on Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar's interaction with Governor of St. Petersburg, Alexander Beglov, in Moscow on Thursday. During his meeting, Dr. S. Jaishankar extended support to promote economic cooperation and people-to-people exchanges between India and Russia. Earlier on Thursday, the minister also interacted with prominent Indologists in St. Petersburg State University, appreciated the initiatives and ideas proposed by Indologists to deepen cooperation between the two countries. During the roundtable discussion with Indologists, Dr. S. Jaishankar talked about the time-tested India-Russia relations.
This interest today is particularly pertinent, it's particularly important because in today's world, a country like India and one like Russia, we are constantly trying to refresh our relationship, to deepen it, to find new linkages and common points.
The Court of Appeal of Qatar has commuted the death sentence of 8 Indians in the Dara Global case. While the detailed judgment is awaited, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs is in touch with the family and legal team on the matter. India said it will continue to extend all consular and legal assistance and will also continue to take up the matter with the Qatari authorities. Aiming to bring lasting peace in India's northeastern state of Assam, the central and the state government are set to finally sign the long elusive peace accord with the major faction of one of the biggest separatist groups of the region, the United Liberation Front of Assam. The signing of the tripartite agreement with the pro-talks faction to be held in the presence of Home Minister Amit Shah and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. The move will partially bring down the curtains on the saga of militancy. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ayodhya on 30th of December. During his visit, Prime Minister will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects. Meanwhile, preparations are in full swing for consecration ceremony of Ram Lalla. Offline and online booking for obtaining Aarti Pass began at Ayodhya Ram Temple.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Ayodhya on 30th of December. During his visit, Prime Minister Modi will inaugurate the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station and flag off the new Amrit Bharat trains and Vande Bharat trains. The Prime Minister will also inaugurate the newly built Ayodhya airport. And after that, he will also dedicate several other railway projects to the nation. These include projects worth about 11,100 crore rupees for development of Ayodhya and its surrounding areas, and projects worth about 4,600 crore rupees related to other projects across Uttar Pradesh. Preparations are underway in full swing for the consecration ceremony of Ram Lalla. Offline and online booking for obtaining Aarti Pass have already begun at the Ayodhya Ram Temple. Currently, only 30 people are allowed to attend Aarti with a pass. This number could be increased as per the number of devotees. The pass for the Aarti can be obtained by producing government-issued ID cards.
Every day, 3 Aartis take place in the temple. People with issued pass can only attend the Aarti. Only 30 people are allowed to attend one Aarti. The number may be increased or decreased in the future. Online facility for Aarti has also started.
With every state contributing in devoting something special in honor of Lord Ram and this special day, Tamil Nadu is sending 42 large bells that will adorn the Ram temple. These bells are on their way to Ayodhya from Bengaluru after a special puja ceremony. Further, the artisans from Varanasi who are making the wooden models of Ram temple and Ram Darbar expressed their happiness on receiving a bulk order of 1 lakh such models. They are working day and night to complete these orders.
We are really happy we got to make these models, and in future also we will get the opportunity.
The consecration ceremony of Ram Lalla at the majestic new Ram temple will commence on January 16th and conclude on January 22nd, 2024. Preparations are almost complete for the grand ceremony. No wonder the Ram temple in the holy city of Ayodhya is a symbol of tradition meeting technology.
With excitement soaring high, the workers and teams involved in beautifying the holy city of Ayodhya have sped up their efforts to give the finishing touches ahead of the grand event, the consecration ceremony of Ram Temple, which will be held on 22nd of January. Here, a team of painters is busy finishing the side walls of the highway near the international airport to be inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday. The paintings depict various incidents of Lord Ram's journey, mainly his return to Ayodhya after defeating Ravan along with his family and friends on Pushpak Viman, specially sent for his journey by King of Gods Indra. As part of compliance action against the offshore entities, Financial Intelligence Unit India has issued compliance show cause notices to following 9 offshore virtual digital asset service providers under Section 13 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Now, these firms are Binance, KuCoin, Huobi, Kraken, Gate.io, Bittrex, Bitstamp, Mexi Global, and Bitfinex. Financial Intelligence Unit India has written to India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology to block the URLs of the 9 entities operating illegally without complying with the provisions of PML Act in India. And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. The Run Utsav, presently underway in West India's Gandhinagar, is attracting thousands of tourists both nationally and internationally. The village-themed decoration is acquainting tourists with rich history and culture of Kutch. The Kutch region, particularly the Ranotsav, has generated global acclaim, rejuvenating the economy of Kutch. A youth from North India's Srinagar has turned his small courtyard into a hydroponic farm that grows fresh vegetables. The method involves growing plants without soil. The man converted a part of his courtyard into a hydroponics farm with guidance from the Jammu and Kashmir government's agriculture department. With this newfound knowledge and hydroponics, the man grows a wide variety of vegetables, most of which are ready for harvest in just 45 days. A leopard strayed into residential area in India's Maharashtra on Thursday after it was rescued after about 5 hours. After receiving an alert, the local police, forest officials, fire brigade and members of RESQ Charitable Trust launched an operation to tranquilize the big cat. India's Shimla Municipal Corporation hosted a dog show for the tourists on 4th day of the week-long Shimla Winter Carnival. The dog show of the pets of local residents drew attention of many tourists as they walked through the show. The dog show was organized for the first time in the carnival. Let's get to some sports updates now. South Africa beat India by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match. South Africa defeated India by an innings and 32 runs in the first test match at Centurion on Thursday. South Africa bowled out India on a paltry 131 runs in their second innings, handing them an innings defeat. Nante Burja claimed 4 wickets as Protea's pace attack ran through the Indian batting. Virat Kohli was the sole player to get past the 50 mark as the entire lineup bundled out cheaply. Marco Jansen took 3 wickets while Rabada took 2. Earlier, Dean Elgar's 185 runs helped the Proteas took a 163 runs lead as South Africa finished their innings on 408. David Bedingham scored 56 runs while Marco Jansen starred with a bat too alongside Elgar as he remained not out on 84 runs. India were only able to put 245 runs in their first innings. The second test match starts on 3rd January in Cape Town. A lot of events happened in the world of cricket in the year 2023. From West Indies failing to qualify for the World Cup for the first time to India's heartbreak in the showpiece event, we take a look at the year gone by in the field of cricket.
Year 2023 can best be described as a tectonic year with radical changes for women's cricket in India. The year that started with the inaugural T20 World Cup in South Africa ended with 2 back-to-back tests, and the inaugural edition of Women's Premier League in India put women on the centre stage in world cricket. More audience per match, more eyeballs on the women's game and more new faces followed. After that watershed moment, the bilateral series took over. In the women's Ashes series, the one-off test saw the result after 8 years when Australia defeated England. The boards and other stakeholders are now understanding the value of standing behind the women's game. Moving to the men's world of cricket, India, high on that big win in the Asia Cup, won 10 matches on the trot in the World Cup they hosted, but were unable to make it count in the final that mattered most in the Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. It started with the World Test Championship and World Cup final, Australia on both occasions getting the better of India in white and colour clothing. Pat Cummins leading the Aussies to victory from the brink of exit is the standout performance of the year. England failed to defend the World Cup but managed to salvage pride, bouncing back from 0-2 to 2-2 in the Ashes series. Asian neighbours Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Afghanistan played well in patches but were not consistent in the year. West Indies caused the biggest surprise by failing to qualify for the World Cup for the first time. New Zealand once again continued to shine, and though they failed to reach the final in the World Cup, the Kane Williamson-led team walk into 2024 with hope and faith to bounce back stronger. Cricketainment or IPL in India saw Chennai get the better of Gujarat in the final. MS Dhoni-led team got the better of Hardik Pandya-led team in the final for their 5th crown. The year 2024 has the T20 World Cup being played in the US and West Indies island. Cricket getting an Olympic debut has pushed uncharted territories open for the sport, and expanding horizons is just the right beginning for the gentleman's game.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.